James Madison, 2026, coming off a college football playoff appearance, losing their head coach, bringing in Billy Napier, and looking to run it back. Here is where James Madison currently sits as a program. This is a team, obviously, with a lot of success going from Curt Cignetti and then to Chesney. They finished 12-2 last year. Their losses were to Louisville and then to Oregon in the college football playoff. All their regular season wins were definitive. There was nothing in this body of work that suggested they should have lost another game or something like that. It was a good G5 schedule. The Sun Belt is a tough conference. Overall, great schedule for this level of play, just very weak for a college football playoff team. And we saw that evidenced by the beatdown they took in the first round. So now Chesney's gone. He takes the UCLA job. You bring in Billy Napier, who just left Florida with a 22-23 record on his way to getting fired. But Billy Napier's had a lot of success in the Sun Belt. He was coaching Louisiana from 2018 to 21. They had 3 straight double-digit seasons under Napier before he took the job in the SEC. I mean, this is the only concern I have with that is now this is the second major coaching change you've made in 5 years. It's just a lot of turnover for James Madison. But ultimately, Napier, he has his critics. I've kind of been a slight Billy Napier supporter over the years. We'll see what he can do in his second stint in the Sun Belt. Cam Aiken's the OC. He was previously with ETSU in the FCS. Prior to that, he was an Ole Miss analyst. This offense, even with ETSU, you can very much tell he comes from that Lane Kiffin tree. Up-tempo. They were at 23.3 seconds per play last year. 43.5% pass rate, so very much looks like Ole Miss. Average over 30 points per game. A lot to live up to. James Madison was 31st in offensive efficiency last year. The DC, Robert Bala, he follows Napier from Florida. He was the co-DC last year. Previously coached linebackers for Washington. James Madison was 8th in total defense, so this is just a ton to live up to. And as far as talent acquisition goes, like where does this job rank in the Sun Belt? They're basically a middle-of-the-pack talent acquirer in the Sun Belt. 98th in recruiting over the last 3 years, behind only Arkansas State, Troy, South Alabama, App State, Louisiana, Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina, and Georgia State. So you can see like recruiting not the best for James Madison, but they are 66th in that span in the transfer portal. That's the best in the Sun Belt. Merge recruiting and transfer together, you kind of get this middling job in the Sun Belt. Retention, this is another one affected by coaching changes. 59% of 2025, 54% of 2024. I'm not going to lie. Chesney pillaged this roster on his way out. I mean, half this team's playing for UCLA now. Previously, when Cignetti left, the same thing happened with Indiana. Overall, it's a pretty good job. But let's go to the roster and take a look at what we can expect this year because there's without a doubt a lot of change. So, quarterback. There's a battle at hand. I do not know who wins this job. The main candidates are going to be Camden Coleman. He's a Richmond transfer. He was on the team last year. Arrington Maiden from Memphis. J.C. Evans, another incumbent, or Davi Belfort from UCF. Big shoes to fill with Alonzo Barnett heading to Central Florida. Coleman's probably the favorite. He's 6'3", 223, took a red shirt last year. He was pretty good in the FCS. Actually, really good. He had 99th percentile production in the FCS with Richmond prior to coming over. He's somewhat mobile, 4.5 yards per carry on 338 yards. Passing stats, a little bit underwhelming, 8.3 yards per attempt, but 11 big-time throws, 7 turnover-worthy plays. I think it's going to be him, but Maiden is a pretty decent player as well. He was a good recruit with Memphis. He's also huge, 6'3", 221. Now a redshirt sophomore, some functional mobility, but only 43 snaps. J.C. Evans, another in-house guy, 6'5", 223. Very limited snaps for him. The only player that kind of looks different is Belfort, who's 5'11". He would be a surprise if he starts. But because this room is so unproven, we currently have James Madison currently ranking 93rd in overall QB ranks, 8th in the Sun Belt. There's just a lot to come together, including just who wins this battle in the fall. As far as pass catchers go, depleted room, no surprise. A lot of these players are at UCLA, including Landon Ellis, Wayne Knight. He was their third leading receiver, actually, despite playing running back. Sanchez graduated. I mean, they lost basically the top 4 guys. So you move to Braden Wisłowski as your top receiver. He played on the team last year, formerly of Memphis. He caught 26 passes. Yards per route was solid above 2, but slot receiver with limited production, he was in the slot 81% of the time. You're probably looking at transfers the rest of the way here. Noah Grievous from VMI comes in. He was an 82nd percentile producer in the FCS, 1.8 yards per route. Another slot receiver, so already redundant with Wisłowski. Kylan Billio comes in from LSU, 4-star that has barely played, but not a lot of recruits that look like him on the roster. He's 6'3", 193, probably plays the boundary. Then you get Micah Matthews from Virginia Tech, redshirt freshman, 4-star. I mean, he's 6'2", he's probably going to play the boundary. I would immediately expect Billio and Matthews on the outside, the 2 former 4-stars, with some combination of Wisłowski and Grievous in the slot. Depth isn't too bad, though. Zeron Collins, former Tusculum transfer, he played 225 snaps last year. Dylan Williams took a redshirt last year. He was actually pretty productive in 2024 as a true freshman. Just decided to sit out last year and elect to redshirt because it was so crowded. Michael Scott played 155 snaps. A couple deep transfers include Jeremiah Harrison from East Tennessee, an 82nd percentile producer in the FCS as a freshman, but didn't hit enough snaps in our threshold markers to really project him any further moving forward than we already did. Corey Scott's a West Florida transfer, didn't play a lot, so there are some options here. I think just the high-end talent is really going to come down to those 4-stars. They currently rank 4th in the Sun Belt, 81st nationally. They have room to potentially be a better unit, but it's all going to depend on what you get out of the former 4-stars. The Sun Belt just doesn't have a lot of guys that look like that, so I'm tentatively optimistic. Tight end, you lose Lakota Dipre to Florida. You lose Josh Pfeiffer to UCLA. You just don't have a lot of experience now that those 2 guys took P4 jobs. Probably looking at Cole Keller from ETSU playing the most. Caught 22 passes last year. He was a good blocker, 66th percentile producer in the FCS. He's 240 pounds, so definitely has the size. But I'm just not really sure where they go from there. They had 2 other transfers. Katie Mosley from Howard. He was a 33rd percentile producer in the FCS. Probably not a real option. Thatcher Miller comes from Westchester, a D2 school. Who knows? I mean, you're probably just going to see incumbent freshman 3-stars, redshirt freshman 3-stars, Brian Natt and Ethan Gorella play more. 2 lighter body players that didn't get on the field a ton, but now in their second season, you'd hope there's some development. They do have a walk-on and Ryder Post, but this is just a tough tight end room to rely on right now. We have them projected 114th nationally and 12th in the Sun Belt. I wish they'd done a little bit more. It's just kind of the bottom line. Offensive line, you lose 5 of your top 6. A lot on UCLA. Carter Sweezy, Riley Robel, both on UCLA. Joe Simmons is on Auburn. McMurtry and Toner graduated. Only your center's back. And he was good. Zach Greenberg's a good center, solid across the board, only 13 QB pressures. But that anchors your middle. Where are you going everywhere else? Tackle's probably going to be Daniel Michelle from FIU or Caden Massey from Kansas State, or both. 2 good-sized players that just don't have a lot of experience. Massey's yet to play. Michelle played 454 snaps at a below-average level in Conference USA. Maybe you see Deacon Rawls play more. He had 159 snaps last year. Griffin Hart at 78. Those are kind of incumbent players. Low-level transfers like DJ Fox from River Falls and Josh Manecki from Army come in. River Falls is a tiny, tiny school in Wisconsin. Shout out Wisconsin, but I don't know if you want him starting at a tackle position in the Sun Belt. We'll see. Guards, you do have some transfers. Noah Portjagan from Florida and Tyler Brown from Colorado. Portjagan's 306, redshirt sophomore. He's a 3-star, hasn't played much. Brown started for Colorado in 2024 and Jackson State in 2022, but he's been banged up in and out of the lineup plenty throughout his college career. He actually began his career with Napier with Louisiana, so there's some familiarity there, which is kind of crazy. That's how long he's been in college. But depth pieces could be Parker Cunningham, Evan Bushong, Jacoby Campbell. I truly don't know. There's very little experience at guard, so it's going to come down to camp battles towards the end of the season. They were at 95th nationally, 6th in the Sun Belt. It just makes sense. You're replacing 4 starters, everyone except your center. There is a ton that could potentially go wrong with this unit coming into the season. Running back, Wayne Knight's gone. He heads to UCLA. Surprise. You lose Jordan Fuller as well, but George Pettaway is back. This is a former four-star that rushed for 981 yards in 2024, but got hurt last year. I think this is probably your safest player across the whole offense. From there, Northern Arizona transfer Seth Cromwell comes in, projects probably as a complimentary back. He had over 1,300 yards last year, 75th percentile producer in the FCS. Jackson, McCarter, Trayshawn Dyer, deeper players. They also bring in Malachi Fannin-Render from Liberty, Nick Herman for Drake. Both of them project as kind of depth pieces, more or less. But optimistic about the run game. This is the number one running back unit in the Sun Belt, 51st nationally. Main question is just, can the offensive line hold up in front of them, which is a big one. And before we get to the defense, this video is brought to you by our college football summer guide. We've been hard at work trying to get this to you ever since the spring. And what this includes for just $50, projections for every single game. That's a score, a total, and a spread. That means win totals for every single team, all 138. There will also be player projections for those of you involved in best ball. That's down to the statistical level. Think passing yards, passing touchdowns, etc. Depth charts for all 138 teams, which includes our value grading score. You've seen that on the screen in this very video. You'll get written analysis for most teams and players, which updates constantly throughout the summer. And that is a real separator for us versus the competition. Whenever news breaks, that will be immediately updated. You also get Discord access, which allows you to chop it up on any team, player, anytime there's a story. A lot of like-minded people in there just like you. You can also ask any question. Those will be addressed either here or in the Discord itself. And if you'd like to support in a smaller way, please consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel. That helps show YouTube that this content is actually worthwhile, and it gets us in front of new viewers in the long run, which just helps us keep doing this. You can also hype the video, leave a comment. Those are great ways to support the channel. And thank you if you've done any of that. It truly does help the channel grow. Last thing, if you or somebody you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, back to the video. Defense. Ton of players gone from the defense, including your edge group, Sahir West to UCLA, Aiden Gabar to UCLA, Xavier Holmes, UDFA. Amar Thomas elected to stay. He had 27 pressures last year. He's going to hold on one of the edge spots. And then I don't know who plays the other ones. Keatrone Simpson comes in from Lamar. He had 34 pressures over the last 3 years, 78th percentile production. Ernest Willard comes in from Wisconsin, a redshirt freshman four-star that Wisconsin couldn't keep on their team. But I don't know about the other transfers. I mean, the rest of this group is like Danny Roycer from Indianapolis, Terrell Thomas from Washburn, Mason Parham from Emory, and Henry. Depth is really questionable here. The tackle position, defensive tackle, Terry Lockett's gone, Emmanuel Bush is gone, Andrew Tadeo is gone. Most experience is Michael McMullen, really good run defender, 291, only 297 snaps is a bit of a question, but he should at least play a role. It's going to be a rotation, but it's kind of the same thing here. A lot of low-level transfers. Rasheed Lovelace comes in from Nichols, Chikwende Okeke from Western Kentucky, where he didn't play, and Jacoby Wilson from Fort Hays. Kevin Roberts from West Florida. I'm just not really sure here, man. Like, Lovelace is probably your best option. He was an 80th percentile producer in the FCS, 310 pounds. Okeke, he's been all over the place. I'm not sure. 10 snaps to his name. They also have like a Kels Bush, formerly of LSU and Louisiana Tech. He's barely played in college, and now we see him transferring down. This whole defensive line is going to rely on low-level transfers. Injuries could be catastrophic if you incur one to one of the few incumbents you have. We have this 81st nationally, fourth in the Sun Belt, and frankly, I'm a little surprised it ranks this high. Clearly, this is not the best defensive line conference in football. Linebacker, you lose Trent Hendrick to graduation. You lose Drew Spinagati to UCLA. They do have Gannon Weathersby back, who played 539 snaps, really good run defender. They also have Jaden Studio, from Kent State. Didn't play much last year, transferred over in 2024. He was decent with Kent State prior to that, so there may be some optimism there. Transfers include Nakeem Jackson from Nevada. You have Lathan Crowley from Holy Cross, JT Hooten from West Alabama, Jackson was a good starter with Sacramento State in 2024. Then he went to Nevada last year, was a little more on the average side, but he could potentially be an option. Pretty good in the run game. Crowley, I'm not buying. He was 48th percentile in the FCS, and Hooten's from a D2 school. So there's some serious turnover here again. But because you get back Weathersby, maybe you don't take quite as far as a step back. We have this ranked as the 7th ranked linebacker unit in the Sun Belt, 93rd nationally. The secondary, all right, you lose a lot. Barksdale's at UCLA, of course. A couple graduates from this program, Jacob Thomas, Elijah Culp, Tyler Brown's at Iowa now, Justin Eaglin's at Colorado. You're probably going to look at transfers right away. DJ Kelly comes in from Toledo. Terrence Jones comes in from Fordham. Kelly has 138 snaps. I don't know, man. He was a freshman, so maybe there's some upside. Jones from Fordham, he was a 95th percentile starter in 1 year, so that's good. But outside of that, you're looking at low-level transfers like Demir Minka from Shepherd in youth. I think KJ Flo probably plays the slot. He filled in there for 266 snaps over the last 2 years. But, I mean, that's it. Camden Jennings, Seth Gaithers, Jamal Olford, Rodri McWilliams are all very young players, decent recruits just battling for jobs. They're all in their first or second year. The only experienced depth is Ken Willis, who has 80 snaps. I mean, corner is just a complete toss-up right now with these low-level transfers and just depth pieces. A lot needs to come together. Safety, you have former William & Mary transfer TJ McGill, who played just 86 snaps last year. Chase Reagan, 51 above-average snaps the last 2 years. Probably not options. So you're going to the portal. Javis Minot was a good Texas State transfer. At the very least, he's a 2-year starter, played with Wofford before Texas State. He only allowed 6 catches. But then you go to like Jalen Harley from Findlay. That's a D2 school. I mean, the secondary here is just very, very volatile. Kicker, you do get back Morgan Suarez. He was solid enough. The only misses he had were from 40+. So special teams should be pretty good for James Madison. But as you can see, a lot of questions for this team. So here's where these position groups rank as a whole. We'll bring you to the chart. It's actually still pretty good in the Sun Belt. I know there was a lot of pessimism. We currently have James Madison power rated 68th. They're sitting at an 8.5 win total. It's juice over -130. We have them projected for 6.92 wins. That's a slight step back. And I think it's a little more appropriate than the 8.5 juice over. I have not played anything yet on this, but I think there's a good chance I will. And here's where the schedule comes in so you can kind of see how we got there. This team plays Liberty in week 1, and Liberty's not a bad team in the G6. They had a down year last year, but they've actually made a lot of roster upgrades. We'll get to them in the offseason. We currently have this basically as a pick'em. They play Wagner, who they're going to murder, and then they play San Diego State, who's a very good G5 team, one of the favorites to potentially win their conference, G16 that is. In conference, it's basically pick'ems across the board. You have 2 clear favorite spots against Troy and against Georgia State at the bottom of the conference, but there's a logjam at the top. So it's pick'em games across the board. And the other problem with James Madison, their bye's not till week 12. This team plays 11 straight games. That's an incredibly, and some of these are on short weeks, like one of the toughest spots in the schedule without a bye in between. In week 7, you play Georgia State. Okay, that's a team you're clearly favored over, but then you have to go on the road to play App State on a Thursday with 5 days rest. I mean, this is just a tough schedule, flat out. You get Coastal Carolina at the end of the season, who's a good team, improved team. This is just tough for James Madison. And bringing you back aside, another reason that it's just tough to buy this team is you don't know who's playing QB. Like, they've had Alonzo Barnett for a few years now. They were rock solid, knew exactly what you were getting at QB. Now we have no idea who's going to play the position. You're turning over 4 new offensive linemen, basically new players at every single position. For any coach, this is tough. And now Napier's coming in trying to fill everything out in year 1. Chesney was able to do it. It's a good job. I'm just a little less optimistic than most people, I think, with James Madison heading into this season. We'll probably be looking to potentially back some teams against them. There's a good chance we end up in week 1 on Liberty. It was a lot of continuity, probably on San Diego State in week 3. But that's where we sit with this program for the minute.